Hey everyone, this is Tom from Cerulean Bay. Welcome back. We hope you all had an awesome week. Today we have a really cool guest on the show. He's a glass artist from San Diego, and his name is Kevin O'Sullivan, and he is with A&O Custom Glass Art. And we're just so grateful that he was able to take time out of his busy schedule to be with us today. We do carry some of his work in our store, so hopefully we'll check that out. But for now, let's go ahead and welcome Kevin to the show. Hey, Kevin, how are you doing? Thanks so much for joining us today. Let's just go ahead and kick off. So, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself and what it is you love about fused glass?
Hi, everybody. My name's Kevin. I come from the corporate world. Probably about 6 years ago, I started to do pottery as a means for just to relax. And I've met some people there, and they turned me on to glass. They said that doing glass fusion would be a lot of fun. And so I took some courses on it and I really enjoyed it. It's a lot less messy than pottery. So I invested in that and I started my own business. I've got a 500 square foot studio on my property, and I've bought my own kilns, and I've got tons and tons of raw materials. And I've got a website, AO Custom Glass Art.com, and you can see a lot of my work there.
Oh, very cool. So, you mentioned you have a lot of materials there. And as you were procuring these different kinds of things, did you have specific ideas in mind for what you wanted to create? Maybe you had already tried your hand in pottery and thought maybe I can kind of do the same kind of form in glass, or what kind of products are you interested in making? And maybe you can tell us about the inspirations behind them.
Sure. A lot of the things that I do are either like nature based, plant still lifes, fish, and yard art, things for your garden. And those have actually been extremely popular. And the other things that I like to do is I like to do Art Deco, and that's more in the jewelry line. I do a
Hmm.
lot of Art Deco. Unfortunately for me, Art Deco is not everybody's cup of tea. So I'm trying to expand on that to look at different venues. I get a lot of inspirations I go through Pinterest and I see what other people are looking to do. And I kind of expand on that. I see things that I like, and then I want to try those, but with my own touch on it.
Okay. Very cool. And then do you have to use different kinds of glass to create your work? Because I know some people do the actual glass blowing. There was a lady that I worked with in Fiji, and she started the only glass blowing artist studio in Fiji. And she's currently teaching local people there the art about how to do that. So now she's got an actual staff that they express their creativity in glass, but it's primarily the blowing. And so she's got different cups and mugs and vases and beautiful stuff. And she'll even take glass and blow it into coconut husks. And she can use one husk 4 times to create these really textured glass coconuts, which then she strings together as kind of like a bunch of coconuts, or she does drinking vessels from these. They're actually pretty cool, but it's all glass blowing. So are you going to be doing any glass blowing, or maybe you can tell us about the kind of technique you use?
Yeah, I'm not set up to do glass blowing. You need a large furnace for that. What I do is glass fusion. So I have kilns, and what I do is I cut out the glass in different shapes and make art out of it. And then depending on what I want to do with it, there's different levels of fusion. Tack fusing is where it'll round out all the edges of the glass so there's nothing sharp, and it'll tack different layers of glass together. Now, once you've done that, you can then form it. You can have molds, and I've got probably about 100 different molds now. And you can put your glass on the mold and you do a different level of fusion on that, and it'll drape over the mold and it'll become a form like a bowl or a plate or things like that, which I've got several of. and I've got them in like different patterns and different shapes. And then you can also do plates where it's textured and it'll have a pattern. Like I've got dragonfly plates and sea background plates and things like that. One of the things that I've got that seem to be very popular is I do sushi sets, which I believe you have on your site.
I do. Yes, I love them.
And those are done through multiple processes where first I have to fuse the glass, the different layers together, and then those go into molds. And
Hmm.
that's how I'm able to make the plate and the dipping trays.
Okay. Yeah, they're beautiful. And the colors that you choose for them were perfect for our shop. The tropical blues that you have and the greens, just amazing. And then I know like you have the little yellow bowls that you do with kind of that art deco-y look to them, the penny bowls. Those are
Yes.
really cool. And you had mentioned the jewelry too, because don't know anything about jewelry, but my wife, that's her thing. And when she saw some of the pieces on your site, she's like, oh, those are really cool. And if we want to start a little jewelry line, we should start with this. And so we we did place the order with you and we have some pieces here online. And now we do want to start actively promoting because, when you're self-employed, you know how busy you can be and you kind of have to be everywhere at the same time. But we do want to start promoting more of the jewelry too. So maybe you can tell us about now that you've got a wide variety of pieces in the jewelry space and non-jewelry, how do you like to promote your work? We're going to be posting the link to your website in the show notes and any other links to anything that would be useful for you. We'll put them in the notes to this episode, but how do you like to market stuff? Maybe there's a way that we can kind of help spread the news, so to speak.
Well, I do have a Facebook account for my website.
Mhm.
But I tend to do more of the local craft fairs, and I
Okay.
promote my business through that. And that's a large network of individuals from all different aspects of craft work. There is some competition for what I do, but everybody generally does their own style. And so even though there's competition, it's friendly competition. The other thing that I do is like I have artwork in your shop, but I've also got artwork in other shops that are more local to me. There's a very famous restaurant here called Daisy Aikens, and they've got a large gift shop, and I've got jewelry and garden art in there, and they tend to bring it out more seasonally.
Okay.
Then there's an artist gallery that's in Ocean Beach. It's called Verver, and I've got pieces there as well. I even have some of my pottery there. And then there was another shop that was in Ocean Beach that I had stuff in, and I had to go and collect it because they were going out of business,
Oh, okay.
unfortunately. So
Yeah.
I'm searching for another shop. There is another one in Ocean Beach. I just need to approach them.
Okay. Well, and for our listeners who might not know, Ocean Beach is in San Diego. That's where Kevin is based. And I'm from San Diego as well. So I'm very familiar with these places. And yeah, I love OB. I miss it.
Yeah, it's a lot
So
of fun.
yeah. And then being from there, obviously with Balboa Park, you're familiar with Spanish Village. And I
Yes.
love Spanish Village. My mom loved Spanish Village. And it just such an amazing place with such talented artists. But yeah, so to anybody in the San Diego area, wherever Kevin might be exhibiting, you should really go check out his work because we find it to be very, very unique. We see a lot of tropical inspiration in it. Kevin, I don't know if that is something that came to mind when you were making these things, but just so you know, it's there. So works very, very well in tropical spaces. And then with the jewelry line, that is something that we are working on expanding. And there's other artists that we're going to be meeting, some who work with metals and other mediums and things like this. But it's all kind of those pieces that would go with a tropical look because we want to build out an entertaining and lifestyle section to our website and to what we do. And part of that involves hosting and entertaining. And in that, you get dressed up. And, it doesn't have to just be a Hawaiian shirt and some kind of fruit drink with an umbrella in it, but it's how you're looking. And for the ladies, hopefully the ladies will really like the different jewelry pieces. I don't know. We haven't encountered anybody that actually makes anything for men. And again, I don't know anything about jewelry, but if I can ask though, is everything you make in the jewelry space, is it just for ladies or do you have any pieces?
Currently, I've
No.
only done for the ladies.
Okay.
For gentlemen, I was thinking of doing like cufflinks,
Very cool.
but I shied away from doing bracelets for men only because I don't have a good feel for it. So I don't want to.
Yeah.
That's something I would have to practice before I would consider launching in that direction.
Yeah, I could see, especially when you're getting into things that people can wear. Obviously, you have to be able to confidently put yourself behind that. And, everybody is looking for good quality pieces. So, but that would be interesting to see one day. If you ever do venture in that space, let me know
Yeah,
because
I
I'm
would.
not opposed to carrying men's jewelry in our jewelry thing. I just need to trust the insight of the person who made it. So,
Well, that's the thing. It would end up being like a leather bound bracelet so that it's got some flexibility to it. And
yeah.
then like a pendant or design on that.
Okay.
Um, but I have to learn more about leather work before I can really dive into
Yeah.
that. Uh,
Definitely not in the glass area. So, oh, well, cool. Well, that's good to know. And so you're exhibiting locally in San Diego when you can at the local fairs. We are only online at this point. We have talked about maybe doing some local fairs here in the Houston area, or just we want to get very creative in supporting local artists and helping show their work in places where they are not located. And here in Houston is a huge art scene. And there's just people that make everything from A to Z here, just a lot of beautiful stuff. But so far, I've never seen anybody that does quite what you do with the glass, which is again one reason why we really like it. So, well, that's
Thank you.
cool. Sure. When with the different glasses, you talked about the method that you use, and so it's with the fusing of the glass and not so much the glass blowing. Just for anybody who might be curious, what kind of glass has to go into that? Because I still don't think I can say this right, but I noticed there's the dichroic glass.
Dichroic, yeah.
Dichroic. Okay. Maybe you can tell us what that is compared to other types of glass that they might find in your work.
Sure. Dichroic glass is it's a metallized glass. So it's very vibrant, it's very reflective, and it's very, very colorful. And as you move it, like if it's on a chain or something, as it moves, the colors change. And as light hits it, it just takes on different colors and graphics. It's a beautiful medium, and I love working with it. And you can get dichroic as raw dichroic, where there's no pattern to it, or you can get pattern, and I carry both. Everything that I work with is got to be COE. It's the 96. It's the firing temperature. So if you mix 90 and 96, it'll adhere together, but over time they contrast at different rates. So it'll end up cracking. So you got to be very
Oh,
careful to make sure that you stay with the same medium. So I just only get 96, so I never have to worry about that. And then I've got what they're called is marinis, and they're basically little dots of glass. And those are great for pendants or detail work on like plants and things like that. So I've got a wide variety of those and I make them myself. And then I've also got Croic marinis, which are just beautiful. So I'm going to be coming out with a earring line for those. Will just be pendant earrings.
mhm.
I find that women really like pendants. I tend to do more larger jewelry, and I've been finding that women generally like the smaller stuff. So I'm trying to scale back to what my clients like. And then I do a lot with opaque glass. Opaque glass is good and light will pass through it. So, and you get those swirl patterns. So, like for the sushi trays that I do, I use the swirled opaque glass, but I do that on a white base. So the white shines through it. But it's also good for I have their kind of like night lights or just like a desk light where it's a scene and I have it in both like aquatic scenes which actually look really nice.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of art deco where it'll be a single sheet with the pattern that I put on it and it sits in a slot on a wooden stand and there's LED lights below it and the light shines through it and so it illuminates the entire plate and you see the whole all the colors like in the
Oh,
fish and things
wow.
like that. So it's really neat and I really like it. Then I
Oh,
also do
that's
things
cool.
yeah, I use the opaques and things like that for things like night lights. I do a lot of night lights too.
Okay. Well, yeah, we're going to check out the new things that are on your site as well. And the night lights, I know we're not currently carrying those, but it's something that we need to do because it's for the home, obviously. And that's what we're really into here. So when it comes to pieces that you carry, do you do commissioned work as well? Like if somebody finds something on your site and they're like, well, that's really cool, but maybe it's too small, or maybe he'll like do something really cool for the wall, or I'm just thinking because there was recently a request that we had here for it to see if I knew somebody who did like she called it pendants on a line or something, and I guess it was like mounted across a rod, and there were like different pendants hanging from this. And she wanted this for her window, and she asked if I knew anybody that made it locally. And she sounded like she was kind of in a rush. And I said, no, I don't know any local glass artists here in Houston. But she had gotten the inspiration from someone else's website. So it made me think, not everybody does commissioned work, but do you do that kind of thing in case anyone asks about it?
Yeah, I've had people that have asked me for like I do a lot of flowers and things like that, and they want a specific type of flower. So I had one young lady that wanted me to do hibiscus and in specific colors. So I did those for
Very
her.
cool.
And that came out very nice. And then another one that wanted to have more like lotus flowers. And so I did those and that came out very nice. That one was actually draped over a mold so that it was three-dimensional.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, that really came out nicely. Um,
I didn't know you do that. That sounds really
yeah,
cool. Well, again, the flowers, the hibiscus, the lotus, tropical flowers, that's a big deal for us. So, do you have any pictures available of that? Did
um,
you?
I've got some of the hibiscus. The lotus one was kind of a rush, and unfortunately, I just didn't take the pictures that I needed
Didn't take
to.
the Oh,
Um,
okay.
but I can always do another one and take pictures of it. And I what I want to do is start doing videos of building up an art piece. So like the different stages, like the selection of glass and then the cutting of the glass and then the first firing, the second firing, and then the third final firing.
I think that would be awesome if you do that because I don't know if everybody in the art world encounters this, but when I was in Fiji and I was visiting Alice Hill over at Hot Glass Fiji, there's a lot of work that goes into what she does. And I think anybody who works with glass, period, there's just a lot of work in what goes into it. And there's actually a studio here in Houston that we visited once too. For people who are not familiar with what goes into glass making, when you see then the resulting product priced maybe in an art fair, and it can be in the hundreds of dollars, even in the thousands of dollars, and people will go like, why is that so expensive? Or, there was actually a lady who made a comment in Fiji that back in the US, she could go to Walmart and get these blown coconuts. And she said this when I was in the studio, and I looked at her like, Okay, go ahead and do that and let me know how it works out. I'm like, Walmart doesn't sell glass blown coconuts. I mean,
No.
so so when you mentioned you wanted to do videos, I think that's actually brilliant because it would show people what goes into it, and then for people who are curious about your work or maybe hesitant about buying a piece, they would have something then that you could show them that it's like, hey, this is why this is priced at a particular price and just the labor that goes into that. And I'm a big proponent of artists who are willing to share how they make things to do it because it'll cut down the noise then of when you do try to go and sell and then people just want to, try and bargain you down when no, people shouldn't be giving away their time and effort for free, especially in the art world. That's what I think. So anyways, that's kind of a long-winded thing, but yes, do the videos, Kevin. And if you do, we'll promote them on our end as well.
Oh, okay.
If if they're up on YouTube or something, we can easily link to it and say, hey, for Kevin O'Sullivan over at A&O, here's his work, here's how he does it, contact him. And yeah, we love that kind of thing.
I'll let you know as soon as I got the first ones done.
Well, cool. Well, we're very glad that you do what you do. And the pieces, as I've said, that we have are beautiful, and we're going to be doing some more promotion for them. We're always curious to see what new inspirations might actually come to life on your website. But is there anything else that you'd want to let our audience know about just before we go ahead and close out?
I'm in the process of revamping my website. I'm still relatively new to this. So I did purchase some software to help me do a better job. So it's totally up and running, but I just want to make it better. So
Yeah.
I'm in the process of revamping right now. And when I do, I'll put out a post that says, "Hey, check it out. It's all new."
It's hard when, when it's not something that you've done professionally or studied over the years. And now suddenly, well, I want to create a website. I think it's gotten easier with WordPress and different things. There's different ways to do that. And it is a lot easier to use. But when it gets into the nuances and the details, I'm like, I got to find somebody and pay him for this because I'm going to lose my mind. But hats off to you for updating your own website. And we're anxious to see that as well when it's done because, yeah, you got a lot of nice pieces on there you should showcase. So,
Yeah, I got about 2,000 photos that need to be edited.
oh, wow.
So,
2000.
so
Jeez Louise, 2000. Well, cool. Well, we're so glad you could take time out of your busy schedule to go ahead and join us. And I mean,
I'm very happy.
I'm so grateful for every guest that I get on, the little Cerulean Bay. We're trying to get the word out about who we are and, Tropical Escapes at Home, our podcast here. But yeah, thank you, Kevin, so much for this. And for everybody out there, we really thank you for tuning in as well. And I'm going to put the link to A&O Custom Glass Art in our show notes. And I'll look up your Facebook page too, and we can link people to that. We'll go ahead and include that too. So everybody go ahead and check out Kevin, and we truly appreciate your support, and we wish you all such an awesome day. Thanks so much. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
So we hope you enjoyed today's episode. That was Kevin O'Sullivan from A&O Custom Glass Art, and he's just really cool, really chill, really laid back, and he produces beautiful work. He really does some nice things. So we hope you enjoyed everything you heard today, and we invite you to check us out over on ceruleanbay.com. That is where you will be able to find Kevin's work in our online store. I've also got a link to his website posted in the show notes today. We hope you'll check us out over on Patreon too. So until we meet up again, we just wish you tons of tropical inspiration and just a lot of health and happiness, and find the things out there in life to enjoy because there really is a lot out there to enjoy. So we wish you an awesome week, and we will see you again next time. Thanks so much, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.